All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to week 19 open Q&A. My name is Brian McLogan, and in this live stream, what I want to cover for you is my new membership. Well, not really my new membership, but how I've reworked my memberships on YouTube, as well as always for the last 19 weeks, covering your questions. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of cover a couple topics that I wanted to let you guys know of, and some people have been asking me as well, and then kind of get right into your questions that you guys have. Again, if you guys have questions in the week, I go live every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I post on my community post every Saturday for you guys to go ahead and submit your questions. You can also go ahead and submit your questions on my Discord server, and where I take your questions from there. So make sure you guys go ahead and submit your questions, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. I can't answer everything. I'll try to do my best. But if you do have some additional questions, I think, since we've kind of been on this little distance learning, I've definitely seen a lot of the questions from my own students as a teacher has diminished. And then also a lot of these live streams, a lot of those questions have diminished. So if you guys do have a question that I can help you guys out with on the live stream, I'll be more than happy to do that. But I do see you, AM, Pianos, Aiden, Valentino, TNS Lover, Strike Dam, Dr. Patel, Aiden, House Quarantine. It's going all right. I guess that's maybe the best way to put it. It's just, especially these weekends, me and my wife, we have 2 little girls, so they are very, 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 very busy. And I always want to try to still wake up and, get a lot of work done, because right now in my pre-calculus class, we're working on limits. And the last couple of years I've taught limits one way, and I've taught, limits in calculus and everything, but I've tried to design it the way I want it in pre-calculus. And this year, for some reason, decided that I totally wanted to scrap the way that I had everything paced. So I am recreating all of my notes, recreating all of my lessons. And it's, so I have that on top of everything else I'm doing for the class. We got grades are coming up. Seniors are done. And so it is just pretty busy. But I do want to know for you guys, I think you guys see when you guys are finished with school, we are not done until the end of this month. So we still have a little bit more to go. But I know some of you guys are getting really, really close to your to the end of the year. So, kind of let me know when you guys are finished with your class. If you guys are going into June, I don't know. When I used to live in Michigan, we always went to school into June, but I'm not sure if that's with anywhere with you guys are going on too. All right. So before I get into questions, I just noticed Justin says, has math always been your main profession? Yes, I graduated with a math degree, and I've been a math teacher at the same school since I graduated high school, going on 14 years now. And I'm not done with school. How hard is vectors? Vectors are not very difficult, I think, at all, as long as you have a good fundamentals of, linear equations and just really understanding graphically. And, especially depends on what you're doing with the vectors. But I think just the very basic understanding of vectors, you'll be doing fine. But if you guys do have any other questions you'd like me to maybe talk about, because I was looking for some questions. I did not get over to them very fastly. So I do have only really 2 things I'm going to talk about from this beginning. So if you guys do have some other things, I will be more than happy to awesome. And then watching for Botswana, Africa, it's 3 a.m. Well, the Prince, that is very, very awesome to hear. That is very cool. I do not get many people, I assume, from Botswana. I haven't really checked my analytics. But that is awesome. And I really appreciate you staying up or waking up early. I guess it really depends on, how you look at that. But I really appreciate you staying in and saying hi for the live stream. And hopefully that my math lessons and videos have helped you out. So let's talk about the memberships here real quick. And if you guys do have any questions you'd like me to cover, I am more than happy to do that. This is my kind of weekly Q&A that I want to address with you guys and answer your questions. What are you guys coming up with? I know everything that's going on in the world right now has kind of changed everything with education. And that's why I did an extra live stream on Wednesdays to kind of talk about those. But I want to now start including those in my open Q&As and really kind of get to your questions quickly after I address some kind of main topic that I have in my description, or at least in my title. And my title today was memberships. And so I just want to kind of let you guys know, because there's some people that have asked me some questions like, hey, should I do the membership? Should I not do the membership? What do you get? Is it like worth, like, is it like private tutoring? Like, I want you to tutor me, or, blah, blah, blah. And, first of all, no, it is not private tutoring, nor that much access to me at all. But what it does do is it does give you a lot more additional insight into the content that I'm creating, as well as help supporting my channel. So there's basically only 3 levels. And you guys can just go to my YouTube channel and just kind of check them out. And again, this is not a sales pitch at all. I mean, if you guys want to support me, that's awesome. If you are perfectly fine checking in with a free live stream and then checking into my channel, that's cool as well. I absolutely have no problems with that. I do want to let you guys know, though, if you notice on my channel, I am posting a lot of classroom videos. Those are videos that I made throughout the year. And things have kind of changed, because right now I am not inside the classroom. Those are old videos that I just made extra and I just never posted on my channel. And so, as far as getting back into new content, I got to create something new. And to create something new, I got to step up my game a little bit. And that means with the editing, that means with my content and everything else. So first of all, I want to let you guys know, as far as the open Q&A, I actually did a live stream earlier yesterday for the members only. And so the nice thing about that is, if you remember, we kind of do like a monthly live stream where it's a smaller group, it's more intimate, and you can also submit your questions just like you guys commit in this one. The only problem is a lot of people will submit me questions or they'll post in the chat, and I just don't have time to get to them. I literally get on my computer 10 minutes before I go live. Sometimes I'll have a little extra time, and if there is a question I see and it's like, that kind of sounds fun to solve, I'll spend a little bit more time on it. But otherwise, unless it's something that I'm like, yep, I know exactly how I want to explain that and answer, I'm just not going to be able to add it to my stream. However, for the membership live stream, I just make sure that I spend a little bit extra time going through and making sure I can address as many questions as possible. Again, I'm not a genius, ladies and gentlemen, but I will try to make sure I can put in a little bit more effort and time into make sure I can have all the questions answered. So, at least one thing I'll do in the first week is going through the live stream. And then also in week 2, I've added just a little bit extra of a behind the scenes kind of vlog, letting you guys know a little bit more from my perspective. This is a vlog that's not going on YouTube. This is purely just behind the scenes, a membership kind of side note. And then for the next 2 weeks is really like the level up. So the first 2 weeks is really like level 1, which is just the most basic, like $199, supporting my channel, helping me kind of continue doing what I'm doing. And I appreciate it, everything. And again, guys, if you're perfectly fine just watching the videos, that is cool, absolutely, with me. But the next 2 levels is something if you're definitely looking into some of the newer content, because I don't know when I'm going to get into the classroom and record again. So right now I'm working on some newer content. And so those next 2 levels, as far as the new releases, as well as exclusive videos, and then the resources. So a couple things that I am adding into the memberships is videos that I'm not going to be posting on YouTube, but are actually instructional, kind of like what I do, like actually teaching step-by-step videos. Some of them I will be releasing on my channel because I need something to put on my channel if I'm not in the classroom. But others of them I'm just going to kind of keep in the membership side. And then for the last level is going to be providing a lot of digital resources. So if you're one of those students that likes to see the step-by-step, like to see the answers, that's something I'll support. So I just want to let everybody know, because if you've looked at my memberships before, it wasn't anything, I provided a lot of the same material, but it wasn't anything I was really excited about. There was really not a structure. I just said, hey, I'm going to do it. And then I would just like do it haphazardly. But now I kind of have like every week you're going to get something different. And, depending on what level you're at, if you're at the highest level, you get something every week. If you're at the lowest level, you get something first 2 weeks. But it just really depends on what you want. And again, guys, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be going live, with you guys. But I just want to let some of you guys know, I didn't want anybody to be confused, how those memberships kind of work. And also there's emojis and all that kind of stuff. So if that all interests you guys, I do really, really appreciate your support. Especially, and this is one of those things that, some of those new videos that I'm making, if you guys watch my videos, I don't pay for editing. I don't spend a lot of time on my videos. But that's one of the things I want to kind of start branching into, is making some legitimate good math videos. So up to this point, it's really just kind of been me winging it inside of the classroom. And I think with your guys' support, that is something we can definitely up our game. So I do appreciate it, guys. And again, if you want to try it out for a couple weeks and see how it is, and then if it's not for you, cancel it at any time. That's the cool thing about YouTube, that they dump their memberships. They don't really, push it on you. You can always start them and then stop them anytime. I actually am a member of a couple channels, and that's what I did. Like, I checked them out, just like, hey, we'll see what they're at. And then some of them I didn't like, but I still have them. Like, if I'm like, they're starting to offer some perks now that I like, you can just rejoin really quickly. So those are some kind of the nice things I do like about that. But I do know that as the year is coming into the end, this might not be something you guys are interested in, but I am going to be releasing this content and this value all throughout the year. So it's not going to matter if I'm teaching or not. I'm going to continually be providing value to you guys. So just wanted to let you guys know what I'm doing with my memberships in case you had any questions, or if you're wondering if it was right for you. But it's not a private tutoring, but I do go live. I do give you guys that attention and allow you to pre-submit questions where I can cover them for you. All right. Let's get on to the next question. And then, guys, I feel kind of a little sad. I don't have any more math questions. I actually don't have a math question this week. I probably do, but the cool thing is, so one last thing before I get into my last thing that I want to talk about. So the cool thing is, I started the Discord chat. I'm like, oh, great. This is Discord. This will help out, like, organize. People can send pictures, and we can organize like the chat. It'll be great. Well, the problem was, then I just started getting like so many other questions, and then everybody was answering all the questions. So like every single time I go into Discord, people are already answering each other's questions. So I don't know, like, there's nothing for me to really answer. Like, I went through every single Discord chat, and everything that I saw had been answered. And unless it was some like majorly advanced question or something that nobody could get to, but I'm really, really impressed with you guys helping each other out, asking questions, answering questions, and being there for each other. So I am going to keep the Discord open, and I do want to continue growing that Discord. So those links are going to continue being there. And if you have not joined the Discord, I highly recommend that you do that. Post your questions, help out with other people on those questions. But as far as asking the questions for the open Q&A, I don't think it's the best way, because every single time a question comes up there, people are answering it. People are helping them out. And typically, if you are posting your question, like, you want your question answered quickly, right? So this week I did set up a Google form for you guys to do that, and got a couple responses. And hopefully this will be something that if we're consistent with, that you guys will get used to and you guys can build up. But so yeah, I'm going to try that out for a couple more weeks, kind of like Discord. I tried Discord for a couple more weeks. I liked it at the beginning. And then once it kind of got successful, I'm not sure if that's the right way to continue doing it. I'm going to keep Discord, just not the right way for you guys to submit questions for the open Q&A live streams. But we will do that I will start the Google Forms and kind of see how that goes. All right, let me see. I'm going to talk about being successful in trigonometry. Will getting first place in the AMC be very effective college reference? I would think so. I mean, I guess it really depends on like what you're planning to do in college. I mean, obviously, yeah, I'm assuming you're going into something that is going to be math based, and that will be a very highly, something that a value. But so yeah, I would think that would be something that would be weighted for you. But to be honest with you, I'm not very, very sure. All right. Never heard someone quit something because it's successful. Well, it's not so much that it's successful. It's successful in what it's successful in that people are helping each other. Like, that's where it got successful. because people are posting questions and people are answering them. And that's exactly what I think you would want out of a Discord. The problem with it is I designed it really for people to submit questions so therefore they could, submit pictures and like get there. And then also other people could help out. So I didn't really think that so many people were going to be helping each other out. And therefore, like before I even get to my Q&A, people are posting questions all throughout the week. And so I literally went to my Discord and I checked everything that was going on. And everything basically that I could see was like getting solved and people are helping each other out, which is awesome. So yeah, it has been successful. But it hasn't really been what I was planning to use it for, if that maybe helps your question. I was trying to think. Do you know how exams will work? I'm not sure if you're talking to me. Were you a top student in school? Math Ledge, I'm not sure if the question's for me, but I'm going to answer a question. And no, I was not a top student in my school. Not by any means. So I didn't get accepted into the college I wanted to get accepted in. I was actually ineligible my senior year for baseball because I was just not really failing I was just very, very like over school, just like done with everything, just very unmotivated. And then, my first college math test, I failed badly, like an F. And then from there, it's kind of like that shock, like, all right, you got to start taking this stuff seriously. You got to prepare, you got to study, you got to put in the time and the efforts. And then from then on there, I was like in the tutoring hall every day, asking questions, like making sure. And then I ended up finishing that class with an A because I was able to like retake that test. And then from on there, I was literally in that math like study room, like for math help every single day. And then I ended up being a tutor in that day. And that once I became in my like upper level mathematics courses, I was a tutor. And then I became a tutor in the athletics department. And I was just constantly tutoring. So I was like constantly explaining to people because I was like, well, if I'm going to be a teacher, I have to learn how to like explain this stuff. And so that really helped me not only teach or learn how to teach, but also how to understand a lot of the stuff I was giving. Snow the Bear said, I see AP exams are coming up. Got any other advice? I wish there was something I could say to you that I would genuinely feel, that would be great advice for you. But, during this crazy times and like, unprecedented, like what you're going through, I think the best thing you got to do is just, you've already gone through the year, and that's the thing I tell my students, like you've already done all the legwork, you've prepared and prepared and prepared. It's just now time to do it. It's like, just do the best you can do. And I really hate to give you, some kind of response like that, but it's like, what else do you do? Like, you've studied all you can study, right? Everything that's made other people successful in AP, classes, what maybe people sell or they give you advice on or whatever else. That's kind of like not really thrown out the window, but like you're in a different environment, right? So, my best thing is like, yeah, understand that. Don't use that as a crutch or as an excuse. You're going to do the best you can possibly do. And that's it. You are prepared for this. You have learned a lot this year, and you are going to show that exam what it is exactly you know. And if you don't, or if it doesn't go out your way, it's not the end of the world. I think that's one of the biggest things that I like to tell my students is, don't let a class, don't let an exam, don't let a teacher define who you are going to be or how you're going to feel about yourself. And, you might do great on this AP exam. I really wish you the best, and I hope you do. And you might not. And that's okay. It's okay. Your life is going to go on. You are going to be just as successful as you will if you did not do as well. Take that experience as an experience and then move on. So, obviously I want you to do as best as you can do. And obviously I hope that you have great success with it. But I also don't want you to put all of your weight into that one exam or one test score. and feel like if you don't do as well as you were hoping for, that you are a failure, you know? And it's not, and actually this advice has nothing to do with, you know, the distance learning or the COVID. I mean, that's really the same thing I tell my students as well. Like, do the best you can possibly do. And you know what? If you don't do as well as you're hoping, that's fine. Move on. Because you know what? There's going to be other tests. There's going to be other experiences that you can learn from and you can build upon from that. All right, so I got some successful in trigonometry, and then I got some techniques. Nobody's really getting the math questions. I guess you guys are like, you know, kind of liking this little distance learning. Not a lot of people are needing a lot of like, how do you do this question? Math lesson said, where's the Discord? I believe it's in the description. If it's not, let me know. Techniques on successful in math. All right, I will talk about that as well. I always like to do 4 questions. So does anybody else have anything else I can talk about? Well, hi, Kathy. Hello. Techniques to be successful. You saved me multiple times in school. Well, Ryan, I am very, very happy to be able to help you out. That is awesome. Yukarsh, hi, how are you? It's good to be mod. I'm not sure what mod means. All right. Oh, maybe you're talking about somebody else. I don't know. Miss Glenn, are college classes different than high school math classes? Harsh, yes, they are. I'm assuming, I mean, at least in my experience, they were. So college versus high school. And it's been a long time since I've been back to high school. So I'll kind of have to give you some old advice, or maybe just some old advice. And also the cool thing, or not really maybe the cool thing, but maybe not. But the interesting thing is like, how are things going to change from what we're doing right now? Like, how is college, how is high school going to change? So, I mean, I'll tell you what this is right now, but I really think this question is going to be like, that's going to be something that's going to be a lot different, I think, in the next 3 to 5 years. Anyways, what else we got for number 5 here? Do you have a video on geometric and arithmetic sequences? I do. Just go ahead and look into my playlists, typically under Algebra 2 and Geometry. That'll be in there. What is the root of an equation? The root is going to be basically going to be the zeros of the equation. How can I better on math tests? All right. Math test increase. And then I saw James, I see you in there. Application, like how math matters after school. James, that's, wow. Like I have multiple like hours worth of conversation I want to talk about that. I don't think I can give that justice in a quick little spiel, but I'll leave it up to this. I'll leave a little cliffhanger on this because I really actually want to spend a ton more time on that. But I will just at least address it real quick. All right. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Prince, and awesome. Chris, thank you very much. And Joseph, good to see you guys. Yes, and Math Legend, I'll talk about that with the applications of math. I don't want to get too much into it right now just because that is something I am like very passionate about. And literally I could just sit here and do my whole channel about like the importance of mathematics and how we can use it and apply it and stuff like that. So we already talked about memberships. Let's get into the being successful in trigonometry. So this was actually a question that was submitted to me on the Google Forms. Thank you very much. On the Google Forms, you can submit your name or you can submit a handle if you do want a shout out. People have always asked like, hey, will you shout out my name or shout out my Twitter or Instagram or whatever else? And I always kind of felt weird about that, at least in like how I would do it in like the context. But now I'm like, hey, if you're submitting in a question and I'm going to answer your question, then sure, I'll be happy to give you a shout out. Thank you so much for, asking that question. So, but this person left their stuff blank. So how can you be successful in trigonometry? I think the Kind of always a loaded question, really, but to kind of give you at least something to base off of, I think being successful in trigonometry in your course is a couple things. Is one, making sure that you understand the trigonometric ratios, right? Understand that idea of the ratios and understand their relationships with each other. So I think that's like number one. And it took me a really long time to actually really know what sine and cosine meant. Like I could do it, I could apply it, I could use them, but I didn't really know what they meant. So I'd really make sure you understand your trigonometric ratios. Unit circle is very, very important. I'd make sure you understand how to create the unit circle, not just memorize data points, but make sure that you know the unit circle. So let's just go through let's write these down for you. So let's make sure you know the trig ratios. I would say make sure you know the unit circle, or unit circles, units circle. What else was I going to talk about? There was something I just came to my brain, but I like put it to the side. Make sure you know the ratios. Make sure you know the unit circles. Oh, identities. So when you're doing identities, like it's tough, I mean, it takes a lot of practice. So I think really having a good idea of what those identities are and how to use them is going to be very, very helpful. And then number 4, which probably should be like number 1, it's just make sure you go back through the algebra. Like it's always like the classic joke in calculus. People struggle with calculus because of the algebra. People struggle with trig because of the algebra. They struggle with algebra 2 because it's algebra. A lot of the mistakes that students make are algebraic. So make sure you go back and review those. These first 3 are definitely all about trigonometry. But again, just make sure you know the algebra and arithmetic operations. Practice that stuff. You know it, but a lot of times when you get to this level, you haven't seen some of these things in a while, or you'll get yourself confused because it's with different variables and different notation. So just practice that stuff. Techniques for being successful in math. Techniques is very specified or very specific, like do exactly this. And I'm not sure if I can really give you an answer like that. But I think number 1, being successful in math is being curious. Okay. And what that means is just like asking the question, like when I was in school, I was in that tutor lab. I wasn't in that tutor lab because I needed help with all my homework. I was in that tutor lab because I wanted to know hey, I got this question right, but why did I do that? Or why did I have to do that step? There's things I knew how to do. Those are things I was doing right, but I wasn't sure why it was right. I wasn't sure why I had to do that. Do it that way. So I just got curious. I'm like, why am I doing this? Why do I know that's true? And I think when I started getting curious, things started to make sense. They started to connect with each other. So as far as being successful in math, I think number 1 is just being curious. It doesn't take a lot of effort. I mean, not a lot of effort, but it's like, you don't have to be a smart math person to be curious, right? Everybody's like, oh, I'm not a math person, or you're just smart, so you're good at math. No, everybody can be curious. Ask the questions. Why do I not understand this? Why does this make sense? Or why do I know how to do this? Why am I doing this step? Number 2 is practice. Once you start to know what you're doing, then start practicing it, right? Practice it over and over. I used to go in the back of my math textbook and I would just practice examples. And, I would just go through those examples, go through those routines. And anybody that's in sports knows about muscle memory. The more you do it correctly, the better and easier it's going to become for your brain. Your brain starts to make those connections and you get used to the what you're supposed to be doing. And I think number 3 is to challenge yourself, right? Everybody can, all right, you can do it this way. Great. Why do we have those hard problems in the back of the book? Why are there those random problems on a test? You're like, we've never learned this before. Why are you asking us this question? Challenge yourself, right? And don't give up just because it's hard. Keep on those challenge problems are designed to continue to help you, prepare you to be successful in math, to think through the problems, to use what you know so that you can solve those types of problems. So excuse me, I would definitely recommend these 3 steps. And actually, this is a great video. I might just add that in there. Like, I wasn't expecting, like, that kind of came off the cuff, and I'm like, but that's really what I believe. Being curious, practicing, and challenging yourself. And if anybody else has any other tips or advice or techniques on being successful in math, please make sure you add them in there. But I think I kind of like nailed those. I mean, obviously there's a lot of things you can do to be successful in math, but really for what I believe, I really think that that is a good trio right there. All right. College versus high school. What is the difference? So the difference between college versus high school, I would say, at least in my experience, is my high school teachers were much more involved in my success. If that was dealing with my parents, if that was dealing with my grades, they cared. Like, they had to care. They wanted to care. They just cared. And, my parents cared. Like, I think high school was like one of those, like, you're going to graduate. You need to graduate. You have to graduate. Like, if you're not preparing, like when I became ineligible, they're like, okay, that's fun. Like, you became ineligible. Like, now you need to get your grade up. So the thing about high school is I think you had a lot more opportunities. There was a lot more involvement in high school. And also there was a lot more opportunities to like improve upon your grades, like to fix things, to turn things in late, to like redos, retakes, right? And we always like kind of joke about that. Like, guys, this isn't how real life is. You don't always get a retake for every test. You can't fail every test and always do a retake, right? I mean, in real life or in college, not every class or every course is going to have those opportunities. And yes, there was like college, like when I took that first course, I failed my first test, but I was able to retake it and I was able to get an A in that course. But that wasn't true in my upper level math class. Like, I had to like pass every single test. And if I failed a test, I was at a severe disadvantage of not getting a high enough grade to support my GPA. So like every single test that I took in my upper level math classes were high pressure. Like, I needed to perform and do well. So, and in high school, like, there are those courses as well. But I would say just, to be vague, the big difference between high school and college is high school, like, nobody wants you to fail. Everybody wants you to push you along, get your grades. Everybody's there to support you, to help you, to redo things, like get you by. Whereas college, it's kind of like, here's what you have, it's kind of like the sink or swim idea. And, because not everybody has to pass college. Not everybody needs a degree. High school, we kind of want everybody to do it. So like parents, teachers, everybody's there to like get you to the finish line. Whereas college, it's kind of like, there's support systems, but it's not as much as high school. So I think basically just support, I would say the difference. Just kind of do that. Support would be maybe one big kind of difference. Whew. All right, man, went a lot longer on this live stream than I thought, but cool. Glad you guys are still here. So practicing for a math test, I think the practicing for a math test is, made a couple videos on this. I'm trying to think what would be best beneficial for you. Well, obviously you're going to want to practice, review, and then rest. Okay. So one of the things I see with a lot of my students is they'll do math work the night before the test. And I'm like, no, you should not be doing math work before the test. Everything that you need to do math-wise, you should already be done with. So that's the practice, the homework, the worksheets, the like extra practice problems. Do the extra practice problems, get that done. Then for the next couple days before you have a practice test, like review. Like do note cards, do a cheat sheet, like put everything, just review your notes, highlight, underline, but just review stuff. So, but a couple days before your test, you should just be reviewing. And then the last one is the rest. And I don't really mean rest as like, not like sleeping, but I mean rest is just like doing a general quick little overview, not trying to be overly crammed. And I know if you're in college or in high school and you have exams, like there's no way to avoid it. It's just crazy time, right? And that's just the reality of exam season. But whenever you're just dealing with like general math tests, the more time that you can have to already have practice, already reviewed, and then just that time before the test, because it's a performance. It really is. Like a test is a performance. So you don't want to be stressed with the practice. You don't want to be stressed with the review. You want to have gone through the practice, gone through review, and then just rest, relax. Go through your notes real quick, go through everything you need to go through. And then from there, then you're ready for your performance. All right. Last one is the application of math. And yeah, there's a math legend talked about something with the math applications and the pure math. I'm not really sure if that's what James was kind of asking for, like as far as in general, what is the like applications of math, especially like the math that we teach inside the high school classrooms or the, even in the college, classrooms. Like why are we teaching some of the things that we're teaching? I think definitely in the college, we can have a much larger discussion of applications of math and pure math and how those are applied. I think really what I'll just focus this response on, because briefly, is because there's a good conversation we can talk about in the upper level mathematics. But as far as like in the lower level or like secondary mathematics, there's a lot that we're still teaching that I don't really fully agree upon. I think there's a lot that I still teach that my students, they don't need for future math courses, even if they're going into math. And then there's a lot of stuff we still teach that students, they don't need. We want these students to be entering the real life, entering the real world. And we're still teaching, we're still requiring a lot of them to be knowing a lot of stuff that is just not applicable to them. It's not going to help them out. It's not going to make them better thinkers. It's not going to make them better students. But it's just a way, it's convenient to organize students based on what they know and what they can do well on a standardized test. And I think one of the things that I have reflected on these last couple weeks is I think there's going to be a lot of change. I think people are going to realize, with SAT, ACTs being canceled, state exams being tested and being canceled, people are their ability to be successful in certain courses or in life or in certain occupations is not defined by a test. And yes, tests have always been a convenient way for us to organize people as far as, what their test scores are. But, that's also allowed us to focus our curriculum on not really what has been the most beneficial thing about learning math. And it's turned into this, let's teach students math so certain students know what to do on a test and certain students won't. So therefore we can organize them in a convenient fashion. And so unfortunately, a lot of the math that we still teach, there is not a great application. There's of course always an application, but there's not a great application or that curiosity or that demand that we really want all of our students to know. And again, like that's shifting. There's a lot more stuff that I think is more important at this day and age that we want our students to be prepared for, that one, not only can be, tested, but also can be tested in different branches of mathematics than what we're teaching. So I will leave that conversation for another time because I do have a lot to kind of talk about that. But I do see a lot of comments coming in. So I'm just going to go and hop on real quick or check back in. Decibel says, I wanted to stop by and say thank you. Greatly appreciate that you made all these math videos. They have helped me so much. The fact that you show step by step. Well, very, 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 very much thanks, Decibel. I do appreciate that. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. I've made all these math videos. I don't even think about it. But yeah, I've been creating videos since 2010. 11,742 uploads later, I am with you guys now. Trying to be straight, but I just thought I would make my week if some of you guys checked out and subbed. Well, Math COVID Learning, hopefully you are making videos and go ahead and do that. Check out the channel. And hopefully you just keep on making more of those videos and continue helping people out with their math. That is awesome. All right. That's good. Thank you very much. Is 20% of a test a lot? Of a test. I'm not sure what I mean from you on that. Sandra, I am from Dexter, Michigan, just outside of Ann Arbor. That's at least where I was born and raised. Ever here taking Calc 1 next? That's awesome. Good luck. Best of you. Or good luck, the very, very best. Yeah, James, I completely agree. I think that's a very, very simple and very profound way that the reason why we do what we do in mathematics. And unfortunately, we've really lost our way. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we teach, you know, if like to answer your question or your response right there, why would anybody hate mathematics? Is that is why we're learning math. There's no way people would hate mathematics if the point of learning mathematics was understanding why, you know, people have an understanding of things. Of course, everybody wants to understand things. That's what like the general, you know, what kids ask when you're 2 and they're 3, like, why? Why can't I do this? Why do I do this? Like, we're curious by nature. So the idea that the way that we're teaching math, people hate mathematics, tells you we're not teaching it correctly, because you're right. I agree with you. That's exactly what math is about, is that foundation of understanding. And if people are leaving their mathematics class and hating math and hating the idea of what they're doing, then I think that's a pretty good idea. We're not teaching mathematics correctly. All right, Spanko, I'm not sure how long I'll be on, but you can feel free to answer your questions. And if not, go ahead and put it on the Discord, or you can submit your questions in the community chat for next week. Since I don't understand how to do sine, whatever radians, times cosine, whatever it is. Have you got any videos of cosine times sine, that sort of stuff? I do. If you go ahead and look in my playlist on my channel, I have a ton of trigonometry stuff. So I'm not really sure exactly what in regards to you're dealing with the sine and cosine, or what problem you're dealing with. But yeah, feel free to go ahead. I mean, I have a ton of videos on trig. Rising Star says, for me, math is more about sit down, read the materials, practice a lot, different types of scenarios and situations will help you think through skills. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of our experiences, you know, and I don't think that is the full grasp of mathematics or the importance of it. But yeah, I know for a lot of people that is exactly, you know, what they're doing. And I think it's very difficult too for a lot of people to exactly sit down and practice. Like, that's not very exciting, you know, work. But you look like, what is the number one thing I ask people to do? Like when they're trying to learn something, when you're trying to learn a new skill, you got to do it. You can't just do it once and say, okay, I know what I'm doing, and leave. And again, like I'll point you this way. I can't even tell you how many times I would be in a math class, watch my teacher or my professor be like, oh, okay, I get it. Like I know what I'm doing. Like that makes sense. I understand that. And then maybe I'll go home and like later in the night, I'll open up my math book and like try to do my homework. I'm like, I don't have no idea what I'm supposed to do. Like just be completely lost, would not remember anything, you know, anything, like just done. And again, like that's point, like you can watch everything. You can watch my math tutorials. You can do all that kind of stuff. But if you don't practice, if you don't actively do the problems, you're not going to understand. You're not going to get that full understanding of what you're supposed to be doing. What is the imaginary numbers? The square root of, that's the imaginary unit, is the square root of -1. Well, hey, R&B, how are you? That was actually me. I get the problem. Boom. And not to study until the next few days. Yes, don't do that. I have no idea what the math college placement allows you to do. It's been way too long for myself. What is that? I'm not sure if I do it. Just follow the order of operations. So that's what I'd say for that, because I'm not sure exactly how how everything was written. But again, that's why the order of operations is so important. And make sure you're using parentheses. So the more parentheses you use, the absolute better. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for our open Q&A week 19. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. I will be again going live next week. Please look out for my community post on my channel, and you guys can go ahead and submit your questions using Google form or go ahead and check into the Discord. I will try to check in with you guys. But again, up to this point, people have been awesome. You guys have been answering each other's questions, helping each other out. So post your questions up there, answer a question, help other people out. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, a great week, and I look forward to checking in with you guys next week. All right, guys. Adios. Cheers.